Hello, my pigmented and non-pigmented friends. I am the Great White Mexican, and today I want to talk about the Colin Kaepernick controversy. Now, I am an avid football follower. I enjoy the sport. I enjoy the controversies and all the plays and the defense, offense, special teams, everything about football. I love it. My favorite teams are the Eagles and the Jaguars. Just to get that out there right now. And the reason I say that is because I want to make sure that I emphasize this is that I don't have any bias towards Colin Kaepernick. In fact, I really did like the guy before he started going down this, turbulent, horrible path where he's become like a not even a below average quarterback, like a really bad quarterback. And because most of a lot of my family is 49ers fans, so I enjoyed watching him play when he was with Jim Harbaugh, and he's really taken a dive in his playing career. And I think this stunt really is just trying to keep him in the limelight at this point. So if you don't know what happened, Colin Kaepernick basically did this during a preseason game against the Packers, I believe. He did not stand for the national anthem, and he was asked why he didn't stand, and his reason was this: he didn't want to stand for a flag that it's oh shit. He didn't want to stand for a flag that God, it's so bad. He didn't want to stand for a flag for a country that oppressed black people. Basically, was the gist of what he was trying to say. And if you don't know this is a crock of bullshit. Black people have not been oppressed in this country for, I would believe, over 70 years now. Or, no, that's it. Yeah, almost 70 years now. The last time you could really say black people were oppressed in this country, or minorities in general, was you could possibly say the 1970s. And then, into the early 80s. But after that, it really came down to this. Black people did not help themselves. When you look at the 90s, why was it so bad? There was such crime in the 90s. The rise of gangs happened. The rise of, the drug wars, which was, a horrible decision to make, but it still happened. We have to accept it happened, but it's still, it caused a lot of violence in the black community and even the Latino community. And, Colin Kaepernick, he can make a stance. He doesn't have to stand. I hate people who are saying, "Oh man, you should stand for the national anthem." He doesn't have to do shit. You shouldn't force people to do stuff they don't want to, especially in America. You're free to do what you want. You can be an idiot, which Colin Kaepernick was, but you can choose to be an idiot. So, my problem with what Colin Kaepernick did was basically this. He's basically siding with Black Lives Matter, or as many people want to say, Black Lives Matter. He basically has taken a side, and people kept saying, "Well, he's divided us. He's put a line in the sand. Who are you with?" And I'm like, dude, it's not as simple as that. First of all, excuse me. First of all, a lot of people are, they're very attached to the national anthem. Right? A lot of soldiers are. A lot of people that aren't police, right? Because basically what he was talking about was police brutality, and as that is an issue in this country, I will say that and it's not just one race. It's everyone. Police overuse their power a lot of times, but for the majority, most cops are good cops. But it is an issue, and the thing that really spurred me to make this video was the First Take. I love First Take. First Take is one of my favorite shows in the world. I just adore it. It's like they're a bunch of cartoon characters on the on this debate desk, and then you got like Molly in the middle, who's just Bay, and it's just an all around fun show, right? But the thing is, a lot of times they can get into this social justice warrior agenda. Max Kellerman saying, "I'm not going to do the R word," or "I'm not going to say this team's name, the Redskins." And Stephen A. Smith, who has been accused of being an Uncle Tom coon, house nigga, I think is one of the words, house slave. And then he's on the other side. He's been accused of a Black Lives Matter sympathizer. Just a bunch of other weird shit. Right? He's a polarizing figure. But they were talking about Colin Kaepernick, and Max Kellerman was like, oh, it's patriotic that he did this, because he's standing for the ideas of America. I'm like, yeah, it would be if we were in the 1950s, 1960s, when the civil rights movement was going on. Black people have equal rights in this country. Okay, if you are discriminated against as a black person, I'm sorry, if you're discriminated in general because of something you can't control, such as your race, your sex, your orientation to an extent, your everything, you should not be discriminated because of that. You should be discriminated from your choices. Just like Colin Kaepernick, he didn't choose to be black. He didn't choose to be abandoned by his parents and be adopted by a white family. He didn't choose any of that, right? But the thing is, he's standing up and basically saying that, like, it's still really racist in America. And I'm like, first of all, it was never really a big topic in America, race relationships, until Obama took office, right? And then after that point, it skyrocketed. It just skyrockets in the night. Fucking push that shit to the beyond it could have been, right? And now we are in one of the worst race relationships we've had since the 1960s. There's a huge divide between people, and really it comes down to this: there's lies and there's facts. There's people, when you present that in 2014, there was 38 unarmed black men that were killed, and I think like 10 of them were considered unjustified, and they were fired and promptly prosecuted. I think that was a number. And then you have like 600 people who have died this year in Chicago. 600 plus people, black men, who've been killed by other black men. And people want to talk about police brutality when, like, you look at the numbers and there's 300 million people in the United States. It's kind of like it's not really comparable. But yeah, back to the point. Colin Kaepernick made this statement. A lot of people were taking sides. A lot of people were saying he's stupid, he's dumb, he's just pulling himself into the limelight. He's not doing this for the right reasons, or he's just trying to keep himself relevant, or he's just making himself the centerpiece of attention. Which, yeah, even if you believe what he's talking about, you kind of have to admit that he wasn't doing this when he was going to the Super Bowl or going to NFC Championship games, right? He wasn't doing this when he was a top flight quarterback under Jim Harbaugh. He's doing this now that he's like, dead in the water. His career is going down the drain, and now he's doing it. And if you really look at it from that angle, yeah, he's kind of being a selfish prick. But if you look at it from my angle, he's being a selfish prick, and he's completely wrong. Police brutality is an issue, but it's not the issue you should be highlighting. The issue you should be highlighting is that this. And I'm gonna steal Zers's big thing, which is that there's a lot of fatherless homes in the black community. There's a lot of gang violence. There's a lot of uneducated black men and women, right? And the black population is not growing at all. You hear the Hispanic community all the time. It's like it's going to double within the next, I think, decade or something like that. Something ridiculous, right? Whereas the black community thinks it's only going to grow by 1%. And it really comes down to, like, people are getting killed in the street constantly, and they're not helping themselves. You know what I mean? Black people had the biggest growth economically, right? This is from Thomas Sowell. Black people had the biggest economic growth between 1940 and 1950, right? So this is when, like, Jim Crow was going on. This is when a lot of shit was going on. Black people really were discriminated by the government, by the way. That's a different topic altogether. But yeah, so that was when they had the biggest growth. But why that was? For me, it seems it's because the nuclear family was such a big, huge part of it, right? There was two parents in the house. There was a mother and a father. The father taught the son how to be a man. The mother taught the son how to be sensitive and understanding. She was always there for him. There was a lot of good things that were happening with them, right? But then what happened? The welfare state came to play. Lyndon B. Johnson. Fucking shit. He, the war on poverty. And, it just made it worse. Just like the war on drugs made drug wars and drug cartels and everything worse and more powerful. But then that caused a chain reaction. So basically they went door to door saying, hey, are you with a man? And they would be like, yes or no. And be like, well, if you're not with a man, you can have welfare benefits. And to really grow this welfare state they wanted to make, they really needed to have a lot of people join it, right? Because this is how government programs work, is that if you don't like the Obamacare wouldn't work if people were given the choice to not have health care. They were just kind of like, you're forced to, and if you don't, oh, here's an option for Obamacare. So And he was moving on. The chain reaction is welfare state came into play. Women stopped choosing the right men, and they stopped having marriages, and they stopped having good fathers, just having fathers all together in their households. And then you had a generation of men raised by women who were not who did not have fathers, and then it was just a perpetual cycle. And then gang violence started to come in play, and now we're here, where people in Milwaukee want to kill white people because I don't know. Because racism, I guess. But anyways, Colin Kaepernick, he's not going to, stand for the police officers. He's not going to stand for the people who got attacked in Milwaukee riots who were white. He's not going to stand for white people who were attacked by police brutality. He's talking about white cops attacking black people for just being black, which I would concede it happens, but nowhere near the point where you think it's supposed to be like a huge problem where we need to systematically go from every single police organization and go to their place and investigate. Usually it's one-off instances where there's racist cops, just like there's racist people, just like there's racist business owners, just like there's racist politicians, just like there's racist sewermen, just like there's racist basketball players. There's racist football players. There's racist people all around, right? But they're not the majority. They really are not. Even though it does make it sound like they were a huge part of the the fucking population when I said every single one of them. But it's it's far and few between. Anyways, let's move on. So, First Take talks about it. Colin Kaepernick does all this shit. And I go into the comments and I see just some of the dumbest bullshit ever. It's, the systematic injustice of black people, white people, white America fucking loves when cops kill black people. And, I try to be respectful when I, respond to people on Twitter, or not Twitter, Twitter too. But also, YouTube, anywhere I go. And just some of the bullshit people believe or just think, right? Like I was called a house slave because I didn't agree with somebody, and I wrote to the guy, it's like, well, for somebody who doesn't like white supremacy, you sure do fucking like to tell me what to do, fucking gringo. Fucking puto. Yeah, but you know what I mean? They'll do that. You have the wrong opinion, get in line, wetback. But once you get in line, be like, oh, you're such a special snowflake. You're a victim. Join us, vote for us. It's such bullshit. It's such dumb shit. And it should never be a part of society like this. It's just getting so bad, the divide between people. And the news doesn't help because, back in the 1950s, TV was the media. It was taking it from radio. And if you saw the fall of radio, a lot of times you see in documentaries, radio started reporting on bad news to keep itself relevant. And that's what TV's doing right now. TV just reports on the bad shit. It loves this race war it's been stirring up, right? It wants to make people hate other people. It wants to make people fucking hate, each other and the race because it gets views, it gets ratings, right? Where, it used to be, positive stuff like, oh, there's, a person that, just started a business, or, this person saved a cat, or, stuff like that, because it was the media, and there was 4 channels, and the news had to report good stuff because people don't want to hear about bad stuff, right? But nowadays people will just they eat that shit up, and then you have CNN fucking shit. Colin Kaepernick didn't talk about this, but I'm going to talk about it. He didn't mention it at all. It has nothing to do with him, but the fucking fact that the CNN's covered up the sister of the guy who got shot in Milwaukee, saying that we need to burn down the fucking white neighborhoods, and they cover the fucking up and they apologize well, it was an error. It's how the fuck do you make that an error? You literally cut it off right before she talked about that. There's a bias, and I was talking about that in the comments too. It's the media's a bias. They're going to show bad stuff. They're not going to show white cops killing white people, or black cops killing white people. It's always going to be white on black, and it's always going to be there's racism still. Of course there is, but it's not hugely prevalent. It's not a huge issue until now, because now we have a fucking race war where we have people on one side, the whites and the blacks and the Asians and the fucking Mexicans. People just fucking everywhere. And the worst part is when people say white America, what the fuck do you mean? There's people who are English, there's people who are Polish, there's people who are Irish, there are people who are German, there are people who are Swedish, who are Nordic of origin, who are Russian. There's many different white people out there, right? Just like there's many different black people. A dude from Jamaica is not the same dude from fucking South Africa, okay? Just like a dude from Poland is not the same dude from England, or his heritage or its culture, anything like that, right? Just like Koreans are different than Japanese, just like Koreans are different than Chinese, just like, Mongolians are different than Vietnamese. There's just, there's a wide spectrum. So when people like group white people together, it's really kind of racist, right? Like, like when they say African American, like not everyone is from Africa. Why do you have to label it? Just say I'm fucking black or I'm Asian or whatever. You don't need to be, just I'm an American, first of all. You know what I mean? It's just, I don't know. Colin Kaepernick made a statement. It wasn't that big, but like people made it a big deal, and I just wanted to talk about it. So if you agree with me, disagree with me, if anyone's actually watching it, actually people aren't watching this. I have a pretty good subscriber count, I think now. But whatever. I'm just putting out random thoughts on the internet. That's never a good idea. But if you did like my video, please like the video. If you disagree or agree with my opinions or statements or anything like that, please write in the comments below. I always take criticism, constructive criticism, by the way. Not go fuck yourself, fucking whitey, or you fucking wetback, stuff like that. It's always fun. But yeah, that's all I got to say today. So if you do, hey, before I go, if you do like what I had to say in this video, please think about subscribing. It's free. It's awesome. If you don't really lose anything, if you don't want to listen to me, you can always just unsubscribe. But yeah, that's all I had to say today. Thank you very much for watching my video. Hope you have a great day. Hope you have a great life. And yeah, I'm just going to say goodbye because I don't have an outro. So bye-bye.